Hello everybody, it's been a long time no see. It's Tim from Planet Corydoras. I thought it was well overdue some time to hear some questions from you all, give you an update on what's going on in my world, some exciting developments in the group on Facebook as well. So here really to share. So as we wait for a few people to come on board, before we get started, I can start giving a few updates. First of all, notice the beard. Been trying very hard for Movember. I'll be shaved off into a proper moustache shortly. Anyway, you can see actually in my fish room, there's my 40th birthday present up there on the wall from John. Beautifully hand drawn. One of my fish, my Trilliniatus. Love it to bits. Got some of those, some prints of that if anyone's interested, but that's my pride of joy in the room other than the actual fish. So thanks to those already joining, it's much appreciated. We'll now look to flip the camera around so you're not just looking at me. Definitely better to look at the fish. Hi Jeff, welcome aboard. So it's sort of close to 10 o'clock UK time where I am. It'd be good to know where some of you guys are from, trying to work out what's a good time for you all also to join these live sessions as well. I do want to give some time for those guys like in Australia and the US as well. I know a big portion of the group's in the US, so just give us maybe some feedback about when's good for you. So hope you're all having also a good lockdown for those who are in lockdown, and doing what you best that you can to stay healthy and obviously keep yourself occupied. No better way, I think, than doing some good maintenance on your fish and making sure everything's as good and healthy as possibly can be. So guys, I see a few of you joining now. Hi Net, thanks for joining, appreciate it. One of our gold members really there, and I always appreciate your help in the group. Hello John, thanks for joining as well. So for those who haven't seen my setup, for those also who have already joined, please start asking any questions that you might have, any particular topics you'd like to discuss. Anything goes, even the weather if you're that bored. So on my setup, you can see here I've got about 14 tanks in this rack, which I built myself now. I started building it about a year ago. I'm pretty slow at building stuff. My time is pretty much preoccupied with the children most of the time. The way I have it set up is just to I fill every little bit of space that I've got going. So I have a bank of 4 in each row. A lot of people complain, say, you've got them on the floor, that's not good. And I would go, I agree, it's not the best thing in the world, but it was the only way I could fit an extra row in. So I do have a row on the bottom there. That row is consistently the colder tank, so I try to put some of the colder species down on there. So when I get some more Barbatus, I'm hoping to put those down there as well. They'll definitely prefer it. In the summer, the rack got very hot. We were definitely seeing some days of 30 degrees Celsius in a lot of the tanks, which is pretty damn warm. Hi, Nigel. Thanks for joining as well. So, then on the middle row here, haven't got a flap on at the minute to show you some of the fry, which I've got, and some of the eggs as well. We can talk about some breeding things. These tanks are slightly bigger. You'll notice that if I get a bit closer, not all corys in here. Got a group of guppies and a couple of tetra in there. They're from my children's tanks when they used to have them in their room. But those tanks all got consolidated in here, so they've been moved across, so I wouldn't have the heart to get rid of them. Still breeding like wildfire. And over here I have my redhead Geophagus. These are bubbers. I had some big ones in my discus tank. Recently moved those on actually. I'm going to do complete swap out of my discus tank in the not too distant future. Thanks Nigel. Yeah, no whisk on this particular program. It's already whisky enough. Haha. So these geos here, they are probably from about March-ish sort of time frame. So what we're looking about 6 months-ish. And then over here, just before the mama and papa got moved on, they spawned for me again, and I have a ton of babies in this one. Literally had 100% success rate on the hatching, and they're all doing very well. They're probably about 4 weeks old now at a guess. Doing very well. Not really having to do much with these guys at all. Then if we move up here, this is the next row. This is a smaller bank. Got my C45s in here. Get a bit closer, you can see. Sounds a bit all over the place. Sorry, I had a water change earlier on. Need to get around and swish it back down again. You'll see also a lot of leaves going in the tank. We're in autumn, so a lot of beach leaves going in. Thanks for the comments, guys. So, yeah, the old cherry shrimp here, definitely found some grub. So a good cherry shrimp in that one. Those are quite high quality ones compared to some that you see. Just waiting for some of these leaves to sink down. This is my only betta that I have. That was given to me by a local school at the beginning of lockdown. They couldn't look after the fish, so they literally dumped it on my doorstep one day and ran, I think, pretty much. And then up top are more like my holding tanks, and grow out, I would probably say. So there are a lot of plex in this tank, twigfish as well, and a lot of shrimp, as you can see on this particular one. There are corys in there, believe it or not, but they're obviously all hiding away. There's one down the back there. You can't really see, the camera's not getting a good shot on it, but I've had a lot of stir-by from this one recently. I've only got 3 in there, but they managed to breed this week, which was the first time, so happy about that. Here are my C127s. Always posing these guys with my favourite Hestatus. Love them. They're the mid-water swimming corys. I think better than pygmy, personally. Got some young C127, camera focus. There it is. There's a nice young one. They've grown really quick, those ones. They're probably only about 5 weeks old. They've really, really come along. I was surprised how quick these guys have grown. And they've all done it in this tank by themselves. Some more young over there at the back. I reckon there's probably sort of 15 young in there now, and probably something like about 25 Hestatus as well. So quite a bunch tonight, guys. Tell us about how things are going in your tanks. Any problems? Anything you'd like to know? I'm sure there must be something. Anything you'd like to see on my setup? Interested in the filtration, how I do water changes? Can discuss anything there. You see, like this tank here has got a heater in the front. I normally don't like doing that, but just these tanks are really set up quite on a rush for the Geophagus, and they definitely like it a bit warmer. They're about 27 Celsius. The others guys are about room temperature, about 22, 23-ish, something along those lines. So CW028 looking quite happy after their water change. And my beasts, had those for a very long time. Dapsan's eyes, got a couple of those in there. Got those really small from a friend. Where's Marnie? In hiding, as usual. This is my quarantine tank here at the bottom. So, got some Venezuelans and a couple of pygmy in there as well. These are the poor guys I had the dropping incident with, if everyone's followed that post. So my gold lasers in this one, CW10s, and a couple of albino in there as well. These guys, I've got a big colony in there. There must be 15 plus, I would say, in that tank. They're often often hiding. But what's frustrating, actually, since I've moved them into this rack, they have not bred at all for me. I'm not sure what they're not liking. Haven't lost any or anything like that, but they just haven't bred at all. So gonna have to do something to mix them up a little bit. Have to see. And okay, let's see, 045s are all out in style at the minute. Sorry for the wobbly camera action, guys. There's my clownplex. They're not often out either, they're quite hidey normally. My brevs in there. There's a couple of Stimulus at the back there. And the yellow fins as well. And Conqueror in this one. Has anyone bought any new fish this weekend? Be interested to know what everyone's got. Feel free to shout out. Or any plans that you might have. I'm hoping to get a few more fish after lockdown. What's my favourite fish or my favourite Corydoras? Maybe two different questions there. My favourite Corydoras, I have one of them, my status. I love them. Let's see if I can get a shot of them. There they are. Let's hang around in the corner there. And some grub. See all mid-water swimming. That's what I like about those. The other one is probably CW45 are the other ones. I don't have those. I would like to get some though. But they're the pretty much opposite big chunky monsters compared to those ones. But yeah, everyone's got their passion. I'd be interested to know what your favourite fish are as well. If it's other fish, I would probably still say Corydoras, but I do also like my discus. I do also like koi as well. Have a nice pond outside. So what I will discuss maybe about the importance of quarantine. So I'm using one tank as a quarantine. It probably isn't ideal because it is sort of effectively right next to other tanks, so easy for cross-contamination. Have to be ever so careful. But it is very important to QT your fish. I've been caught out before in the past where I've cut corners. I think nearly everyone has at some point. And my opinion is to leave them in minimum 2 weeks. Personally, if you can, I'd leave them for 4 weeks to ensure that you've got no issues whatsoever. Some things are so underlying, and then once you release it into the rest of your tanks, it's too late. I don't necessarily say you have to treat them or anything. It's just observation and see what's going on with those fish while they're in that quarantine, and then look at joining the rest of your species. I would always recommend that. You can see a lot of my tanks, I have some Java moss in there. I find Java moss is one of the best things to have in. They tend to love spawning in it. It's easy to grow because I have to say I've never been particularly successful with plants. I just tend to have Java moss, Java ferns and Anubis in there because some of them also like laying on the leaves as well. So something to bear in mind for the Corys. Now I also tend to have a Bristlenose in every tank to help me with maintenance as well. Busy life. I love Bristlenoses as well. I not just got them as, oh, he's got clean up crew because he can't be bothered. It's not like that. I do love my Plex as well. They're right up there, my favourite fish. But they do really help keeping the glass clean. I've noticed that when I've just had one tank without a Bristlenose in, that tank will cover up full of diatoms and algae and stuff like that very quickly, and these guys in for a couple of days gone. They're brilliant. Do have potential issues with them, maybe munching on the odd egg if anything is laid, but to be honest, I'm pretty successful actually with just keeping eggs in a lot of the tanks. Make sure your fish are well fed, and it's more opportunist if they find them. They won't probably be actively hunting for them. Oh, you've ordered some more C123s. Lovely, going to QT time. That's good, Net. I would love to get some more C123s. I'm fortunate that I don't really have any specialist shops or any other breeders really within the group. I don't think anyone's really within about 2 hours of me. So it's very difficult for me to get hold of anything. So I tried to save it up to sort of one trip, like early on this year. Went to the CSG convention, and there I came back with a ton of fish. So that's how I tend to work it. Yeah, Borge, I agree. Yeah, Bristlenose. You got 2 small in each tank. That's good. Yeah, I in the smaller tanks I tend to have one. These ones down here, which are about 33 litres. The bigger ones, which are about 38 litres. Some of them have got a couple in, and then the bigger 80 litre tanks. They've got, that's where my brooding groups are. So one's got 3 in it, and the other one's got a load of super reds in, which are just maturing. It's probably got about 4 in there, but they're not full size yet. They're seems to be much slower growing. Waiting for those guys to breed because they're quite in demand from people. So I'm liking the look of these leaves at the minute. It does very much give an autumn feel to the tank. Looking forward to them sinking though, which they will do shortly. So I'll start showing you some of the breeding side of things. So here's one of my tubs. Right, I've got an air stone in there to give air. Now this one isn't being very successful. Sorry, I'm trying to get the reflection without the lights on it. I do apologise. It's a little bit closer. So I've had some meth blue in there, and I've got a couple of cherry shrimp, and I've got a little bit of a leaf in that one as well. Now this one hasn't gone too well. This is the C045s. Nothing's hatched in there that I've seen, and the eggs in there looking pretty fluffy to me. The camera on, they're not looking great. I've tried to pull out the really obvious ones, but I've never had C045 spawn before, and unfortunately they spawned in the sand, which is the worst thing that happens when they spawn in the sand. I'm really yet to find any group which has spawned in the sand I've had any great success with the eggs. I don't know if it's because the female dumps them because she's not happy and decided actually that these guys, there's the C45s there, I wonder if they're just saying they're not fertilised, so I'm just going to drop them anywhere. And so because they're sticky, they're covered in sand, which means it's very hard to even tell if they're fertile or not as well. So they could also be not fertile. So, but it's my first spawning these guys, so I'm happy at least they've done that. I've had these guys since about March. So all looking quite healthy and happy, which I like. Glad I'm following what you're doing. Have fun siphoning with the leaves, thanks. Yeah, I don't siphon. I have a pump which goes into the tanks, which I normally keep mid sort of water. So that's, I don't generally do that. Obviously, if I'm sucking up sand, that's a little bit different. But my general sort of maintenance doesn't have to worry about the sand too much. I don't have tons and tons of sand in each tank. This poor little Stimulus we got here. He's one-eyed. He's one-eyed when we got him, unfortunately. But I got him from a friend. And he's done well, really. I'd like to see these guys spawn, but I haven't been lucky enough for them yet. But they are sharing a tank with the yellow fins, which are much bigger. So they might be upsetting them somewhat. We'll see. And there's a nice shot of the Conqueror. Hello. These are the guys which are nearly always sparring. And actually I'm surprised they're not even doing it now after water changes. That's what they tend to do. So, right, and then let's look at the more successful one. Let's see what we can do with the camera light on this one. Actually, I'm wondering if I can turn off that and you might not get so much reflection. Yay! You can be taught. Right, let's see if we can see any fish. There they are. Can anyone guess what fry these are? Depends probably how good the streaming is working and the clarity of the image. And I gave it away earlier on the broadcast if you were a long time watcher. So again, same setup. There's some shrimp. There's the leave. But out of this batch, I reckon I had about 30-ish eggs, and I think every one of them has hatched. So go figure. C45, exactly same setup, all fail. And these ones, which are C stir-by, all hatched. One of those wonderful mysteries of life. I should be able to see better on the side here. Very happy. I'm very happy to have them too, because I wasn't planning on breeding them, but they've done ever so well. Very happy about that. I'm also interested, guys, if you guys have any tips or tricks, because I am not the world leading expert. I can always be improved upon. You guys probably have a lot of experiences I don't. Guppy's all looking happy. Get a nice close up of these guys. Their little pink bellies. Must be a good 100 in that tank at least. And there's the bigger brothers. They're normally eyeing out each other on the windows. Actually, when I had these ones here, the geos, a second batch came along, I think about only a week to 2 weeks after these guys. And so I put them into the same tank, and within 3 or 4 days, these guys had consumed the other ones. You know, and they couldn't fit in their mouths, but bless them, I could see these ones going around with the baby ones sort of half in, half out. Those poor things. And they were just sort of very slowly trying to get them, but trying to fish them out at the sizes they were at, because they were teeny tiny. It was just not going to happen. We all make mistakes, unfortunately, but we learn from them. We won't do that one again. Hello, Wismani. These guys are a bit the forgotten ones at the minute, with their location on the floor of the rack. It's the most hidden one, the most private, which I'm hoping might lead them to spawn again, because they haven't spawned for quite some time, these guys. And I moved them to this tank probably a week or so ago, to give them more privacy, but also this tank is the coldest tank, by far, being on the floor next to an external wall. It's just always a little bit cooler by a degree or so, which I'm hoping will help them, because they're definitely one of the cooler water species. And the Super Schwartz Eye, CW028. These guys always are looking quite frisky, always doing the glass surfing. It's always a good sign when they're doing it up and down. And these guys are super lazy normally, super lazy. They'll just sit there all damn day doing nothing. Not really easily scared, but just sit there. This tank, I need to adjust all the fish behind this big lump of moss. There's more Hystatus in there. There's a little Venezuelas. Sorry, they've right gone up. These are some Kanaki. This guy also came to me blind. Seem to have that issue at the minute, just in one eye. So only got a couple of those guys though. But yeah, all happy families. So I hope you guys are all making use of the website. It's been up now for a good couple of months. I'm making updates on the website probably daily, I would say. On there you can find all the species, pretty much a photo of every species, giving you some details of their pH and temp for the majority of them where data exists. It can be quite difficult, but we have as much info as we can up there, but it is slowly getting more and more. Just remember the website is obviously the group name, www.planetcorydoras.com. and you'll also find some good useful guides there for breeding, raising fish, details on food that I recommend to them as well, filtration methods, pretty much everything for someone getting into the world of Corydoras. And I'll also be looking to push my YouTube channel now a bit for the group, a bit more, share the experiences that we have. So look out for those guys. Any new members joined today so far? Thanks, Dennis. They've had a water change probably in the last hour or two, so reasonably clear. A couple even had a filter clean out as well, which they haven't had since about March for some of them, because they're using HMF. They just don't really need it. They're normally very happy fish. Right, go back up to the top. So yeah, interested if any new members have joined. Always after feedback. Still try. Oh, there, we can see a stir-by. Hello, stir-by. Here's. I think that's Mama stir-by. Got a couple of panda in there as well. Oh, and a pygmy. He's going to fly right there. Oh. This is from my original batch I got a year or so ago. Bless them, I got about 20, and unfortunately it's the only time I've ever had problem with transport. They just didn't seem to enjoy the car journey, and I got here and after about 2 hours, because I had to go quite far away, as I often say, and pretty much all of them were dead by about maybe 5 or 6 out of the 20, and then the next few sort of died off over the next few hours, and I just got left with 2. So I've been desperate to give these guys some friends. So, and we do have some friends now in QT for them. Guys taking it easy. There's Daddy in the background, baby in the front, and then sort of a bigger juvenile behind. You can see I've had a lot of success with the C127s this year. Yes, last year I didn't have anything from them, so I was very happy to get something from them. My first lineage 1 species to be bred. And there's an interesting topic, for those who have seen it, what are lineages? So each of the Corydoras is sectioned into a lineage which is like its closest family members, and the ones which it can potentially be hybrid with. And as I've said before a few times, that's not something we encourage. There's enough variety already. We want to try and keep the gene pools as clean as possible, because a lot of these guys are getting less and less in the wild, so it'll be good if we have them in the aquarium trade and hobbies, that we've got something to go back to. Yep, so I am giving these guys some live food. Actually, that was seen to be one of my triggers for the stir-by last week, was some live bloodworm. I normally can't get hold of it, I'm just not close to anything, but I found someone who will post the bloodworm in the post, and it worked great, and they absolutely loved it and demolished it, and so that helped a lot, but I would like to do more. Robbie says, do you clip leaves, and what do you have to do to prep them? So these are beech leaves. So I'm fortunate that I have lots of beech trees outside my house. So make sure they're in a sort of a clean environment. You don't want to be collecting them probably from a roadside or anything like that. And then I will collect the ones ideally from the tree itself. So the ones which look like they're just about to drop off, they're the prime candidates to go for. I personally, if they've done that, I'll probably give them a quick wash down, and then I'll chuck them into the tank. No more need from that. Just have to be careful a little bit around the the pH. So I'm planning on putting more than I've got in here at the minute, but they can swing the pH a little bit. So I'll just add them over a few days and see how we go, so we don't have a major drop. I would like the pH to drop a little bit. My pH is about 7 because I use rainwater, but I would ideally like to get it down to sort of 6.6, something like that, and see if that has any effect on any other fish on breeding. See, the brebs I have here, I've had for quite a while as well, and they're one I don't hear a lot of breeding reports around, so I suspect they're a bit more difficult than most. Very inactive fish in my opinion. They do tend to just sit there again all day, quite easily spooked actually. I'm surprised I'm getting some shots of them at the minute. But if you've bred them, let me know, put some tips. Remember, on the website there is a breeding resource where you can put up there your breeding report and share them with everyone, what you did to trigger the fish, what conditions you've been keeping them under to help other people. That's what it's all about. So I do encourage you to go on there and give reports, but also to view and get help yourself. I know I've definitely been using for that as well. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate the comment. Be interested to know what people do for temperature tracking. I've had these little cheapy LCD screens with a probe which goes into each of the tanks. Personally, I have found these quite inaccurate. If I get 2 or 3 in the same tank, they all read differently by about a degree or so. Some of them are way out, some are like 2 degrees out, and I think they've got worse actually with time as well. I know they were cheap, but I wouldn't expect it to change that much. I also have, where have I put it? No, not around. I have a laser gun as well. It's probably in my food drawer. There in a second. Yeah, also has to be the other end of my panel. Sorry for the dodgy work. 2 seconds, guys. Okay. Sorry, I'm feeling seasick now. So yeah, laser gun, one of these. So point on the sand with a laser, and just see that coming through. 22 degrees. Okay, this one I know is, remember it being one of my more accurate ones, 21.6. So I'm happy that there's going to be a little bit of variation on that. So this one says 21.6. Go on here. It's saying 23 and a half, 24 nearly. So way out. This one's saying 20.12. This one's saying 23 and a half. So they're quite out. And I think the one at the bottom is maybe 3 or 4 degrees out. So I'm interested to know what other people get. Obviously, you can buy much more expensive ones, but that's with the amount of tanks and so forth, you don't want to spend an absolute fortune on thermometers. So, I mean, personally, I'd like to see something which is one screen, but with multiple probes off it. So you get that, which is also reasonably cheap. So interested to see what other people use in multi-tank sort of setups, or if they just go around with a laser gun. I don't know how. I mean, it's difficult to gauge how good the laser guns are either, but this is quite good fun. The geos seem to love chasing the laser, a bit like a cat. I know the discus do that as well sometimes. I'm not sure if the little ones will do it. Let's see if the little ones will go. Yeah, going towards it. So don't want to blind any of them though. Good. So I've been on for a little bit, guys. Any questions? Been quiet this week. I know I've done it a bit randomly, but I had a bit of free time, so I thought, why not say hello and see how you're all doing. Please give us feedback on the groups, and let us know what you'd like to see more of. I know there's a competition currently going on banner picks. Got down to the finalists last week. I need to confirm the winner, so look out for that. Well done for everyone who entered and for our finalists as well. I'll try and see if I can get on that in the next 24 hours or so. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed, and so yeah, we'll look to see if we can do one another time. Let us know what good times work for people. Obviously bear in mind this is sort of getting late in the evening now for me, so probably can't do it much later on this, but if maybe there's a better time, maybe a Sunday morning show or something like that would be pretty good. We'll see. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll wish you a good rest of the weekend. Stay safe, everybody. Enjoy your Corydoras. Take care.